What's up guys, how you doing? It's Chad Schlager and this is your chiropractic tip. So before I explain the chiropractic parable, just give you a little background story, or background truth I should say, it's not a story. The reality is, here in America, 5 out of 6 Americans will get heart disease or cancer in their lifetime. 5 out of 6, that's 84%. So we all know somebody who has cancer, who has had it, passed from it, or somebody that has heart disease, or stroke or hypertension, they're on some type of blood pressure medication or statin drugs. We all know somebody. So just hearing this information and nodding your head does nothing for what I'm about to tell you. Just knowing information doesn't do anything unless you act on it. So if 5 out of 6 of us get a disease process that we cannot see and we cannot feel it until it's too late, does it make any sense to define your health based on how you feel? Hey, I'm healthy because I feel good. It is a false belief system. It's a fragmented belief system. Sure, it's great to feel good, but that is not the foundational truth of health. Health is how our body functions. And if our body is fearfully and wonderfully made, we are not genetically set up to fail. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we are made in His image. I know you guys, some of you guys are those science people, and you need research to prove that. That's fine. Go down all the research routes and spend the next 13 years of your life trying to find the answer. You'll never find it, but that's where I'm going to start. That's my foundation. Okay, so if we define health based on how we function, you got to. The next question you have to ask yourself is, what is the organ that controls the function of everything that happens in my body? And that answer is your brain and your nervous system. So then the next question that you need to ask yourself is, can these organs stay 100% healthy when this organ is dysfunctioning? And the answer is, of course not. So the thing that causes this organ to dysfunction are these things called subluxations. That's when one or more of those bones shift forward, shift back, shear left or right, or twist. And when that happens, it puts pressure on those nerves. Wherever those nerves are going, it alters the tone, it alters the signaling, however you want to say it. Just like if you are in a band and everybody else is playing really, really well, but the lead singer, his tone is off, it throws off everything. No matter how good the guitarist is, no matter how good the drummer is, no matter how good the rhythm guy, the keyboard guy is, if the singer is off tone, it throws off the entire concert. So this thing controls the tone of the organs. So, in an ideal world, if 100% of those signals that you were created with have to make it down your spinal cord, out those nerves to every cell, organ, tissue, and gland in the body, interference-free, just for the sake of time, I'm just going to talk about T4 as it's going to the stomach. If 100% of those signals can make it to your stomach, 100% of the stomach cells will be functioning at 100% of the capacity, 100% of the time. That is a normal, healthy stomach. That's normal. That's no longer common. Common is food allergies. My kids have to be gluten-free. They can't drink cow's milk. They have to sit at a separate table over here because they got peanut allergies. At lunchtime, when we go over to a party, we can't go unless certain foods are prepared, or we have to bring our own meal. That's common. That's no longer normal, but it's common. So just because it's common and it happens to all of your friends and relatives, it does not make it normal. Normal is 100% function. And now something happens. If you watch enough of these videos, if you've gone to orientation class, if you followed us, you'll understand that stress causes this to happen. And there's different flavors of stress, of course, but the first, let's just say something happens, and now there's 10% pressure on those nerves. Only 90% of those signals can make it to your stomach, or the tone gets altered. 90% of your stomach cells functioning at 90% of their capacity, 90% of the time. I feel good. I'm like an everyday American. I feel good. I feel great. I look good. I can run a 6-minute mile. There's nothing wrong with me. So you keep putting it off. Disease, is it a process or a person? It's a process. If you don't do anything about it, it doesn't care about how much money you make, how much money you lost. It doesn't care that your dog ran away or that your mom died. It doesn't care about you. It always gets worse if you do nothing about it. So now there's 20% pressure on those nerves. 80% of those signals can get through at ease. 20% are at a state of dis-ease, dis-ease, or the lack of ease in the body. 80% of the stomach cells functioning at 80% of the capacity, 80% of the time. I feel good. I feel great. What average American, what average parent is going to do something for their kids to enhance the function of their body when they look good, feel good, and have no symptoms? None. because their false belief system of what health is looking good, feeling good, and not having any symptoms. And if my kids don't have any symptoms, why would I do that? So they keep putting it off. And now they're 2 months old, and they're getting chronic ear infections all the time. But because it affects my stomach, I'm going to talk about stomach stuff, not about ear infection stuff. But if this were going to your lungs, you would have a lung symptom. If this was going to your liver, you would have liver symptoms. If this was going to your intestines, you would have GI issues. If this was going to your low back muscles, you would have low back issues. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to talk about the stomach. So now you get belching, right? Because that's a stomach symptom. But it's 6 months ago, we decided to lose some weight because we were a little overweight. We wanted to get in shape for the summer, so I went from regular soda to diet soda. I cut out all the empty calories, and I switched over to diet. I went from pre-diabetic and overweight to pre-cancerous with all these chemicals in my system. And it gave me a little bit of a belch, you know, but, you know, I'm down 30 pounds. I look better in a mirror. It's less stress on my joints. I feel better. I have more energy. I'm moving towards health because I'm losing weight and I'm looking better. But I get this weird annoying symptom after every time I drink a soda or something toxic that I'm putting inside my body. If it's alcohol, I wake up the next morning with a headache and I can't figure it out why I have a headache. It's just because, you know, maybe because I slept wrong. It's because I slept wrong. It's not because I drank alcohol yesterday. There's no way that my body is that smart to give me these weird annoying symptoms to say, hey Charlie, knock it off, you jerk. Stop putting that junk inside your body. You know, no way. My body's not that smart. It's not intelligence. It's not fearfully and wonderfully made. It's just a mass of stuff that somehow came together by chance, and symptoms are the bad guy. So now I just keep putting it off. I swallow an Advil or a Tums for it, and I keep doing this stuff, covering up symptoms for the next 3 months, 3 years, whatever it is. Now the symptoms get more frequent or they're more severe. Now I got belching and bloating. But, you know, this is where we start blaming other people, where everybody inside the workplace that has to sit at a desk job, we all have the headaches. It's the desk job that's causing my headaches. It has nothing to do with me. You know, when I was 18, I used to go to Subway and have a foot-long, you know, sandwich with some fake meat on it. And Subway convinced me that I was eating fresh. But now I try to do that. I'm 34 years old. I go through the drive-thru at Subway and I get gluten particles on my arm and I get a rash for about 2 weeks. So now I'm gluten-free. I've been gluten-free for the last 6 months. But now this bloating is starting to get worse. Rather than it being on my skin showing up as a rash, now if I eat after 9 p.m., I wake up, I feel like a stuck pig, right? So now I got belching, bloating, and indigestion. I get, wait a second, I saw this last night on the TV. If I got belching, bloating, and indigestion, all I need is a Tums, right? What's crazy is not only have they bought shelf space in the pharmacy, they bought shelf space where? Inside your heads, to brainwash you that when you have a symptom, where are you trained to go? You don't even ask why. You just go there and you swallow their pill, and now that you swallow this magical health pill and your symptom goes away, now you think you're healed and cured. But what's the reality? That's just like when your house is burning down in the middle of the night and you get a fire and you take the batteries out of your smoke detector just to make the noise go away. Now you're symptom free. Would you ever go back to sleep, or will you try to find the cause of the problem? Not in this body, not right now with this thing. We don't ever try to find the cause. We just cover up symptoms for our whole life because that's what we've been trained. And what's even more upsetting to me are not only they're buying shelf space in your heads, they're buying shelf space in whose heads? That's right, the little kids. And they're not buying it on the TV because a 1-year-old's watching TV and now they're starting to do drugs. They're teaching it through the false belief system of the parents, and now the parents have a kid with a fever, because fevers are bad, it's 102.8, so here's a fever reducer. You got a sore throat, here's some cough medicine. You got an ear infection, here's some antibiotics. You got to go to all those well baby checkups to keep your baby well, so here's a shot, here's an injection from the outside in. There's something wrong with you, you're lacking, you're inadequate, you're not fearfully and wonderfully made, you're actually unworthy and unable, and you can't, and your body's not designed to heal and function like it's supposed to from the inside out. You need some additive from the outside in. So you teach a kid that long enough, when they get old enough, they're 6 years old, they're running around on the soccer field, now you need an inhaler. You used to be able to run around fine when you were 5, but now you can't do it anymore. And you teach a kid that long enough, when you're 6 years old, 7, 8 years old, when you have a physical hurt, here's a drug. And a kid lives that lifestyle for the next 12, 13 years. When they get to high school, is high school an easy place? Of course not. So when they have emotional hurt, and they've been trained their whole life, when I have a hurt, here's a drug for it. When they get to high school and they have a hurt, what do you think they reach for? A drug. And it's not Tylenol, it's not Advil, it's not, it's not an antibiotic. And you wonder why the high schools have a drug problem. Raise a child in a way that when they grow old, they shall not depart from it. It is a physical law that we are literally seeing manifest in front of our eyes, that they are living this lie. It's a lie that they're being taught by the medical system and all these drug companies that you need something from the outside in. Now, don't get me wrong. There are life-saving drugs and medication that we utilize to make sure that we survive today. But a drug and a medication is not designed to be taken once every 16 weeks from 0 until the age of 6, and it's not designed to be on for the rest of your life, right? So, And so we think when this kid, he's 17 years old and he's getting picked on by some kids in school, and then he's upset, so he goes home to his uncle's gun cabinet, and he takes the gun to school the next day and shoots the 6 kids that were picking on him. We think the solution to that problem is to get rid of all guns, because guns kill people, and put kids on more antipsychotic medications to make them feel better about themselves, that somehow that's going to increase the self-worth of them 13, 15 years ago. Give me a break. Right? And we keep believing this lie over and over again. People come to orientation class, they hear what we have to say, they understand the truth about health, that it comes from the inside out. There's nothing from the outside in that you can do to enhance the function of your body. And you keep putting it off, you make excuses and reasons. Sickness and disease, it is not a person. I care about people, people care about people, but disease does not care about us. It's going to act this way whether you believe it or not. So now it always gets worse. So now you got heartburn, right? So now you swallow this medication. You've been swallowing this heartburn medication because you got to lay. You're sick and tired of laying on one side before you go to bed. So now those cells around your stomach that are designed to hold acid no longer hold acid. That lower esophageal sphincter no longer closes off after you eat a meal. It stays open, and the acid creeps up into your esophagus and burns. Oh my gosh! But don't worry, here comes the savior in a little purple pill called Prilosec OTC. And then you keep putting it off, and now you got pressure, another 70% pressure, 30% of those are able to get through, 70% can't. So now you start to bleed internally. You got an upper GI tract bleed above your stomach. So by the time that blood that trickles down into your stomach, through your small intestine, through your large intestine, and out your back end, you can't see blood in your stool, but it's black and tarry, but you're fatigued, you just can't run around with your kids or your grandchildren. Once you hit the end of Sunday, there's not enough hours in Sunday to get fully rested for Monday, so you wake up feeling miserable about Monday, so you go into your doctor for your annual preventative checkup. You have these things scheduled every 2 years, and you give them a list of your symptoms. They have you swallow this stuff. They do a CT on you. They give you a call back and say, before you even get into your driveway at home, you say, get back in here. You got stage 3 Barrett's esophagus. You got esophageal cancer, right? If this is somebody's T2 and it's supplying the coronary arteries of their heart, what's this guy having next? A heart attack. Is that the time to call a chiropractor? No way, right? I care about people. Disease does not, but I care about people. But I don't want you going to a chiropractor or coming to this office dropping over dead of a heart attack. We have the worst we have the worst healthcare system in the world. We do have the best medically trained emergency technicians that if you're down there and you're literally only functioning at 20% and you have a disease process that's been forming for 30 years and nobody told you the truth about health, they can literally save your life and keep you alive. But what they will not do is get you back on the road to healthy. They will make sure that you don't die. But what's the #1 killer of all Americans? It's a properly prescribed prescription med. It kills almost 2,500 people every single day. They write the script, they give it to you, and that person doesn't wake up. It's not overdosing. It's not mixing it with something I shouldn't have mixed it with. It is a properly prescribed prescription med. So when drugs go from life-saving into lifestyle, and people do them consistently, right, from 0 all the way to 6, we are overdoing drugs, right, in kids. It makes us sicker and sicker, quicker and quicker. Those drugs and medication are designed to save our life. They're not designed to be lifestyle. So, if that was able to resonate with you, great. It's a parable, so obviously it doesn't give you all the details, so the whole thing is designed to paint a picture of what health is from a 30,000-foot view. If you've never been to one of our advanced wellness workshops, I highly recommend you do. This is gonna allow you to create your fairy tale ending. So 10, 20, 30 years from now, you can do what you wanna do with whoever you wanna do with, all while saving hundreds of thousands of dollars that would end up going to medical bills and sick debt. You won't end up like 5 out of 6 Americans with heart disease, cancer, or some type of disease process you can't feel, or end up in the nursing home, like you see, paying $12,000 a month for a bed and drugs to just keep you awake and function throughout the day until they take all your money. So the choice is yours. You invest in you now, or you're gonna invest in just being sick later. Talk to you soon. God bless.